Grace Report, happy Saturday. How's everyone doing? What is up? Tammy, Tyrana, Julissa, Nerd Report asking who's ready. Lisa Boo. How's everyone doing? And did you guys do anything interesting today while we wait for people to trickle in? And did you guys, I know this is not spooky, but while we're waiting for people to come in, did you guys see Northwest in The Lion King? Kim Kardashian's oldest daughter was in I guess it was at the Hollywood Bowl. I'm not sure where it was, but she was singing in The Lion King. What did you guys think about that while we wait for people to come in? What's up, Lisa Boo? What is up, Anne? Because I know there's a lot of people talking crap about her. Joanne, what's up? Like she didn't get into that production by talent, but she got into that production because of her mom, which I think is the reason. Bia Stone, what is it? Or how's it going? Sorry. Lisa Boo goes, didn't see it. I'm glad you're not missing much, Lisa Boo. But when you get a chance, check it out. Julissa goes, no, I didn't see that, but I did supervise my husband change out some boards on our deck. Brandon, what's up? Joanne goes, not interested in the Kardashians. Me neither. I just wanted to get a conversation going before I got into the spooky wookie. While we wait, so you're not looking at me going like this. I just know it's the talk, and I see it coming up on my feed a lot, so I wanted to see if anyone saw it. But you're not missing much, guys. Chris saw it. What did you think of it, Chris? Gunner Girl, what's up? She can't sing. That's what I thought of it. But then I can't sing either, so I shouldn't be saying anything, but it was, Chris says it was major cringe. Okay, so I'm not the only one. Tammy goes, I haven't seen it. You guys aren't missing much, but if you're wondering what the hype is, check it out. I mean, I can't really play the video here because maybe, or is there a video? No, let me see if I can find a video. But here, I have a picture. I could show a picture. Hold on, let me see if I can find the video so I can play a snippet of it. So here's a picture of it. This is Northwest in her Lion King outfit. I mean, compared to, I don't know who she's standing to. Who's she standing next to? Does not say who she's standing next to. Oh, Jennifer Hudson. That's what I thought it was. Compared to what Jennifer Hudson is wearing, it looks very I don't know, plain. But this is a picture of her. Let me see if I can find while we wait for people to trickle in. I know, guys, this isn't spooky. Lisa Bugo, she was on social media when she was young, which I don't think was healthy for her, in my opinion. Joanne goes, gag, yuck. Joanne goes, it was a beautiful day here in Southern Island. It was a beautiful day here, too, as well, in SoCal. Chris goes, she sings like a frog with strep throat. Gunner Girl goes, it was awful. I mean, really bad. Julius is asking, what kind of animal is she supposed to? She's supposed to be Simba. All right. Let me see, before we get into the spooky wookie, let me see if I can find a video of it. Somewhere. So I could show you like a clip, because I don't want to show the whole thing to where I get copyright or whatever the heck they do. Let me see. Give me a second, guys. Let me see if I can find it, because I kind of thought of this at the last minute. Oh, here. And plus, it's probably copyrighted music, so I'll play a a little bit of it. Nerd Report goes, please stop with the @ to everyone. Thanks. Well, you got my notification, didn't you, Nerd Report? Carbonized Stardust, what is up to my body? OJ to my brain cells, the Kardashians. Gutter Girl goes, I can't believe Kim pushed for this. Rooster, how's it going? So here is a clip, I believe it's off of Instagram. I'll play a tiny clip. Well, I've never seen a king of beasts. It's quite simple. Tiny clip because it's copyrighted probably, but that you could kind of see her. It's on Entertainment Tonight on Instagram. It's just, I mean, the costume tells it all. You don't even need to hear her singing. It's the costume. Brandon goes, nepotism at its finest, definitely. Anne goes, that was painful, and my daughters both had dreams, and even though they had talent, in my opinion, not as bad as this, and still got hurt. Yeah. I feel like she got the position. Hold on, let me see if I get. Better be the main event, but no king was before. I'm rushing up, I'm looking down. All right, you guys get the point. I do not. My ears cannot take too much of that. Carbonized Stardust goes, did her dad design that cat suit? Oh no, she's tone deaf. I was like, okay, all right, guys. I you know, when I saw everyone's comment, because I always, when I see something like this, I always read the comments, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. When I heard it, I was like, oh my God, the comments are right. And Kim goes, Kim probably paid for her to do it. I mean, I get if you have talent, but I don't think she earned that spot. I think because of her name, she got that position. Brandon goes, oh my God, that's so bad. Brandon goes, the poor kids with actual talent did not get the role. Exactly. She got that role because of her freaking last name and because of her dad and her mom. Probably most likely her mom. But still, I mean, I get if you were in it. I mean, I've seen who was it? Blue Ivy with Beyonce. I've seen her dancing. She dances great. Who else can I say? Because I guess Beyonce has had her daughter dancing in her shows, which I thought she looked awesome. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, good experience. She's doing better than I would. She wasn't singing, so hey. But I'm kind of comparing to her because I felt like she actually has some sort of talent, but I feel like Northwest doesn't. She needs to hang up her lack of singing. I mean, I can't sing either, but I wouldn't be doing a stage show. So that's the only difference. Anne goes, I'm so glad my kids asked for what they got, not the people pushing them. Gutter Girl goes, she definitely got it because of her pushy mom. But Carbonized goes, but she's not. She's so not. Anyone with ears that aren't already bleeding. Oh, I feel bad for saying that because it's a kid, but dang, other kids have seen that. Joanne goes, her dad is quite a jerk also. And then what I've heard of him, my opinion, what I've heard of him, he's not, what my opinion of him, it's like he's not all there too. So yeah. But I feel sad, like Brandon had mentioned earlier, I feel sad for the kids that had auditioned for the role and actually had talent and want to pursue a, you know, a career. I mean, some people at a young age know exactly what they want to do, and I feel sad for those kids who didn't get the opportunity to be on stage to get that experience because of somebody with a known last name, a known father, a known mother got it and has no talent. Chris Barber goes, there are a lot of kids that are young and can sing really good. There are. Carbonize goes, if she gets a music career, we know it's not her singing. Exactly. Exactly. Julissa goes, nepotism at its finest. I know Brandon had also said that too. It is so true. It really is. Joanne goes, we're talking about grade school here, though. True, but there are a lot of kids that are younger than her that have talent. They have more talent than I do in that type of thing. You know what I mean? So it's like we all have our niche. That is not hers. And I know I know I'm not really a TikTok person, but I know she's active I don't know if she's active on TikTok or Instagram because I don't really follow her, but I know she's been on one of those a lot doing videos. But it's bad. I mean, I've seen even who is it? Pink's daughter. I've heard her singing and she has talent. She can sing. Maybe not as great as her mama, not just yet, but she can sing. There's a difference. Gunner Girl goes TikTok with her mom. Okay, TikTok with her mom. I know it was one of them. I just didn't know which one because I don't really follow them. Brandon goes, I do like that Kim has to live with a mini Kanye, though. Matthew, what is up? How's it going? But, yeah. And honestly, compared to the other costumes, her costume is like below par, too. Like, I mean, at least put her in a jumper or something. You know what I mean? Like the onesies. Like Joanne goes, Pink trained her Willow. Kim can't sing. True. But I'm just using her as an example. She has talent. Northwest doesn't in this case. She might have talent somewhere else, but it's not in singing. And I don't care if her dad's a rapper. It's not her forte. Maybe she can rap. I don't know. Gunner Girl goes, isn't the outfit supposed to cover her legs? That's what I was thinking. Like a onesie or something where it's a whole outfit, like a one piece. Like with the footies and everything. I feel like that would have looked I don't even think she has a tail, does she? She doesn't even have a tail. Like what the hell? Oh, wait a minute, does she? No, she doesn't. I can't see a tail. All right, guys, like always. Before I forget, because I forget, Skeleduck is somewhere in this background. Just remind me. And if you guys don't know what he looks like, he is pictured in the upper right-hand corner. If you don't know what he looks like, there he is. He is somewhere in this background. Just remind me before the end of the stream, and I will reveal his location because I will forget. Trust me. In my older age, I'm forgetting. Carbonize goes Timu Pikachu. So, just remind me, Carbonize, and I will reveal his location. Joanne goes, Kim could have splashed more on the costume custom, maybe. I agree. So, one of my favorite things that I've always liked and been fascinated with is the freak shows. Way back in the day. I know we don't do that anymore because now it's kind of it's I mean, now I would feel like it'd be controversial because it's pointing out people's differences. But at this time, this was kind of during the times that freak shows were around. Um, it was kind of a thing. Uh, Even my favorite X-Files episode, Humbug, was around the freak show, and I do see some things that were mentioned in that X-Files episode in this article, which is kind of cool. Um, and also there was American Horror Story season freak show, also called Freak Show, which I enjoyed. I stopped watching American Horror Story, unfortunately, because the last it was like American Horror Stories. When they did that, it wasn't one main theme like it had been. They had changed it. Because usually we had Murder House, we had Freak Show, we had Asylum, and then all of a sudden they made a season where it was different stories. I get it. That's kind of it makes sense because American Horror Story, but I just did not like it, and I just kind of fell off. And I know this most recent one, Kim Kardashian's in it, and I have not watched it. So, um, Julissa goes, I watched those. Some stories were decent. I was gonna try to catch the Kim Kardashian one, but because she was in it, I just could not summon the strength to watch it. And I think it just recently like they did. I know for some odd reason, series are doing that split thing now. I know Bridgerton did that. They just dropped 4 episodes, and they're gonna have the next season part 2 in June. So I've noticed some productions are doing that. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that there were strikes last year, and that's how they have to do it so they could get content out. But Carbonized Stardust goes, it's probably bad that I hope her character. Julissa goes, I saw the latest one. It's not too bad. Emma Roberts was good. She's good in it. But Julissa, I may take a gamble in it and take a view in it to take a view in it. But because of the American Horror Story one, it kind of I kind of lost interest in it. But I'll try to take a gamble in it. But without further ado, here is the rise and fall of circus freak shows. So in 19th century America, gawking at people who were born with deformities was not only sociably acceptable, it was considered family entertainment. P.T. Barnum made millions by capitalizing on his freak shows, brought together an amalgam of people considered, give me a second here, of people considered to be curiosities. Bearded ladies, tattooed men, the severely disfigured, and the abnormally short and tall, many of whom were unwillingly forced into the industry as young children. Barnum hyperbolized or altogether falsified the origins of these performers, which made them out to be beasts, rare specimens, and cretins. When he met criticism for perpetuating hoaxes, he counted that he was only on a mission to sprinkle society with a little magic. I don't believe in duping the public, he wrote to a publisher in 1860, but I believe in first attracting and then pleasing them. I get why he would put them out as beast rare specimens, because it's the same as today. You want to grab your audience's attention. So if you put some ordinary person, especially back then, because back then there wasn't really television, so not like we have now, but you want to grab the person's attention. If you don't grab the person's attention, they're not going to come to your show. So I totally understand why he did that. He accomplished both of these things through exploitation, which is a bad thing. Yet many of his performers were paid handsome sums, some earning as much as today's sports stars. The rise and fall of the freak show business is a fascinating economic story, but also a morality tale. P.T. Barnum and the rise of the freak show. To freak show or sides The freak show or sideshow rose to prominence in the 16th century England. For centuries, cultures around the world had interpreted severe physical deformities as bad omens or evidence that evil spirits were present. By the late 1500s, these stigmas had translated into public curiosity. It also stems to, I know way back then with left-handedness, they forced a lot of people to be right-handed because they thought you were evil or you had the work of the devil or something to that effect if you used your left hand. I know someone that they did. She was around my age, so they did that to her, and I had noticed she was right-handed, but she was writing like she was left-handed, and I had asked her one time, and she goes, "Yeah, I was left-handed, and they forced me to be right-handed in school." So I was like, "Whoa." Water Dragon, what is up? The Greatest Show with Hugh Jackman is awesome. I have not seen that, but I've heard that it's awesome. Carol, how's it going? Joanne goes, didn't Barnum quote, "There's a sucker born every minute"? I wouldn't put doubt in that, Joanne, or put it past him. Businessmen scouted people with abnormalities, scooped them up, and shuttled them throughout Europe, charging small fees for viewings. One of the earliest recorded freaks of the era was Lazarus Coloretto, an otherwise strapping Italian whose brother, Johannes, protruded upside down from his chest. The conjoined twins both fascinated and horrified the general public, and the duo even made an appearance before King Charles I in the early 1640s. Cascaded from society, people like Lazarus Egger capitalized on their unique condition to make a little cash, even if it meant being made into a public spectacle. But until the 19th century, freak shows catered to relatively small crowds and didn't yield particularly healthy profits for showmen or performers. So this is a picture of P.T. Barnum. If any of you don't know what he looks like, this is what he looks like. Carbonite Stardust goes, the soundtrack is currently going in my head. Lisa Boo goes, wasn't the Elephant Man in P.T. Barnum show? I believe so, Lisa Boo. Water Dragon goes, I'm left-handed. When I was in grade 2 in California, my teacher would grab the pencil for me and put it in my right hand, correcting me. I'm stubborn, so I just waited for her to leave and switched. That's what they did to my friend. They did the same thing, but I guess she wasn't stubborn. She's stubborn, but she wasn't as stubborn as you were. Joanne continues, and you can fool most of the people most of the time. Meanwhile, in Connecticut, P.T. Barnum had already established himself as a brilliant marketer. By 19, as a storekeeper and early lottery ticket seller, he'd already married deception and showmanship and was making nearly $500 per week in profit. That's $10,700 in current dollars. That is a lot of money per week. But when the U.S. government passed an anti-lottery law, Barnum found himself out of work and moved to New York City. In 1835, inspired by stories he heard from England, he purchased a blind, paralyzed slave woman, fabricated a sensational story that she was 160 years old and had been George Washington's nurse, and charged viewers to see her in person. A year later, the woman passed away, and a death report confirmed that she was only 80 years old. But Barnum's viewers didn't seem to care. They had been captivated by his storytelling, and his deceptions had become irrefutable truths. Barnum had purchased the slave for $1,000 and made nearly that amount every week from his investment. That kind of sucks. Barnum also mastered the art of colorful trickery. His first major hoax in 1842 was the Fiji mermaid. They had mentioned this in that X-Files episode. If you guys are a fan of the X-Files, it's the episode called Humbug, one of my favorite episodes. They did mention the Fiji mermaid, a creature with the head of a monkey and the tail of a fish. The specimen, really the torso and head of a juvenile monkey sewn to the back half of the fish, was originally sold to an Englishman by a Japanese sailor in 1822 for $6,000, which is equivalent to $103,500 today. After being displayed for some time in London, it found its way to New York, where Barnum negotiated to lease it for $12.50 per week. So this is a picture of the Fiji mermaid. It is a fake specimen, but heck, it is awesome. I wouldn't mind having that on the shelf. It looks cool. Chris Barber, speaking of humbug, goes, one of my favorite. Oh, that's awesome. Water Dragon goes, that's the Fiji mermaid. Yes. Water Dragon goes, you can fool some of the people all of the time and all of the people some of the time, but never all the people all of the time. Matthew goes, speaking of the left-handed that I had talked about earlier, I used both hands when I first started school. They just gave me classes away from regular classes. How many of you guys would love to have this on your shelf? I mean, this is probably an actual monkey at the time sewn to the end or the tail end of a fish, so I probably wouldn't want the actual one. But to have something like this would be definitely a conversation piece. Julius is like, not me. I would. I think it's cool. I really do think it's cool. Tammy's like, nope, not me. I'd put it in glass. I mean, I must be the only strange and unusual one here. But I think it's cool. I do. Barnum embarked on a ferocious campaign to convince his crowds that the creature was real. Fenning newspaper articles and even weaseling his way into the American Museum of Natural History, he fabricated a story about the mermaid's discovery and distributed over 10,000 pamphlets. In a matter of weeks, he had the public's attention. So, hey, you could say this guy was good at conning people, I guess, in a way, and he was good at promoting himself. Barnum purchased the American Museum on Broadway in New York, and throughout the 1840s introduced a rotating roster of freaks. Albinos, midgets, giants, exotic animals, and anyone else who piqued the curiosity of the public. To advertise the space, he hired the most unskilled musicians he could find and had them play on the building's balcony in the hopes that this terrible noise would attract customers. Under his leadership, the American Freak Show became a booming business, both highly profitable and degrading for its performers. Charles Stratton, General Tom Thumb. Following the success of his Fiji mermaid, Barnum set off to find extraordinary humans who he could partner with and capitalize on. He heard of a distant cousin, Charles Stratton, who had an incredible abnormality, so he went to investigate. Stratton, and we all know this isn't really, I mean, I don't consider they're people like we are, so I don't consider them any different than what you and I could do, but back then this is what was his goal, was to find abnormalities, but it's a little person. Stratton had been born to average-sized parents, and he developed at a normal rate until he was 6 months old, at which point he measured 25 inches tall and weighed 15 pounds. By age 5, he hadn't grown an inch. Barnum partnered with the boy's father, taught the child to sing, dance, and impersonate famous figures, Cupid, Napoleon Bonaparte, and in 1844 took him on his first tour around America. Barnum rebranded Stratton as General Tom Thumb, the smallest person who ever walked alone, and told onlookers that the 5-year-old was actually 11. After incredible success, the two embarked to Europe, where Queen Victoria became enamored with the act. Stratton was mobbed by crowds wherever mobbed by crowds wherever he went, and achieved international stardom. Dragon Ghost, General Tom, Bearded Lady, and the Dog-Faced Boy are all in the film. Yep, they are. I feel like, as sad as it is, because it is sad. If you think of it in our terms, it is sad to point out someone's disability, because anyone with a disability, all they want to do is just be like everyone else. And they don't like people staring at them. And putting them in that situation makes them the odd man out. I mean, they're already the odd man out. That just brings more attention to them. But I feel like at that time, because it said at the beginning of the article that some of them were getting paid as much as these people in the sports field. So like baseball players, for example. So I feel like, what if the family of this poor kid, was poor, and they were getting this income in. So in a way, it was helping them in that sense, giving them an income that maybe they don't have. But on the other sense, it's bringing attention to something that most people don't want attention for. They just want to blend into a crowd, like any of us want. I mean, I know. I mean, I don't. I'm not a little person. I'm of normal height, but I'm different from everyone else. I always have been, but I embrace it. But I know some people don't like that, and they want to be just like everyone else. If that makes any sense. Chris goes, I bet most of the performers were happy to be able to get work somewhere. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. It's work. And I know back then it wasn't anytime you have some sort of income, even today's standards, if you have an income, you'll be able to play for your cost of living. You could buy food, you could pay your bills. I don't know how the bills back then were, probably not as much as they are today, but they were able to provide for their families when they weren't able to otherwise. By the late 1860s, Barnum made Stratton a well-to-do man. For the better part of 15 years, he was paid upwards of $150 per week, which is $4,100 today, for his performances. So Barnum treated $4,000 a week. That's a lot of money. He treated his people well. And upon retiring, lived in New York's most fashionable neighborhood, owned a steam yacht, and wore only the finest clothes. So, otherwise, a man of his stature probably wouldn't have been able to get a job because of his stature. And because of P.T. Barnum, he was able to live a great life. So I'm trying to think of this in the positive sense, even though it is like, it's a bad thing, but in the positive sense of things, if you look on the other side of it, it actually allowed him to live a comfortable life. Barnum was equally smitten with his new partnership. The European tour paid him so handsomely that he nearly purchased William Shakespeare's birth home. His earnings extended well into the hundreds of thousands, money he reinvested in his business and used to purchase his first large museum. He renamed it Barnum's Museum, and by 1846, it was drawing 400,000 visitors a year. William Henry Johnson, Zip the Pinhead. William Henry Johnson was born to impoverish, newly freed slaves in New Jersey in 1842. While he possessed a very subtle physical deformity, his head was slightly microcephalic or cone-shaped, A local showman capitalized on and exaggerated it. Johnson began performing in sideshows in the mid 1850s. In 1860, P.D. Barnum recruited him and transformed him into Zip, a different race of human found during a guerrilla trekking expedition near the Gambia River in Western Africa. His head was shaved, save for a small tuft on top, and he was dressed in a head-to-toe suit of fur. Darwin had recently published Origins of the Species, and Zip was promoted as a missing link, a beacon of evolutionary proof. Barnum displayed a Zip in a cage and ordered that he must only grunt. He was paid $1 a day to keep quiet and stay in character. He also had Zip play a violin so badly that he was often paid to stop by spectators. He quickly became a star in Barnum's rotation of freaks, garnering attention from the likes of author Charles Dickens and other celebrities. For his efforts, Zip was rewarded handsomely. Barnum paid him $100 per performance, of which he often had 10 per week, and purchased him a lavish home in Connecticut. Zip was known not just for his curious origins, but for his upbeat, positive demeanor. As one spectator wrote, he amuses the crowd, and the crowd amuses him. His showmanship extended far beyond Barnum's eventual death, and he performed into his late 80s. He was also a masterful marketer. During 1925's Scope trial, he offered himself as living proof of evolution, generating a massive amount of publicity. Though he played a fool for the duration of his life and was exploited, Zip was frugal and retired a millionaire. On his deathbed, he reportedly told his sister, "Well, we fooled him for a long time," implying that for decades he'd been conning not only his audiences but sideshow operators into believing that he was mentally incapacitated. Chang and Ing Bunker, the Siamese twin. I did do a previous show about these two. They were mentioned also in the X-Files. That's how I knew about them. Born in 1811 in a small Siamese fishing village, Chang and Ing were conjoined twins connected by a 4-inch ligament at the chest. In the late 1820s, a British merchant established a contract with the twins and exhibited them around Europe and America for 3 years. Subsequently, the two split from the showmen, started their own American sideshow, and gained great fame. The term Siamese twin was created by a doctor who witnessed the two perform. By 1838, at the age of 29, they retired with $60,000, which is $1.3 million today, and settled in North Carolina, where they bought a 100-acre farm and operated a plantation. After adopting Bunker as an American last name, they became naturalized U.S. citizens and met a pair of sisters who they wed. They constructed 2 separate houses on their property and traded off 3-day time slots in which each could spend time with his wife. Combined, the two fathered 21 children. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how those sisters got along. Like, I get they're conjoined twins, so I mean, you kind of have no choice, but still, like, I don't know, I mean, I know most women would probably be like, not that. I mean, they were both married to different women. They're conjoined by a piece of skin on their chest, which I'm pretty sure in today's world they might have been able to be separated, because that doesn't seem like I feel like they might have been separated, but I'm not sure because I don't know the medical, like, if they had any organs connected. But just to imagine being married to one of the twins, and every 3 days your twin had to go to the other house, and then vice versa, like the other twin had to go to the other house. I don't know about that one. I mean, but they were 2 sisters, so they probably trusted each other. Joanne goes, if they were connected by a ligament, not organs. Julissa goes, yes, as long as they don't share a heart, they can be disconnected, I believe. I feel like in today they could have been connected. Joanne goes, nope, I could not do that. I don't think I could do that. I don't care if it was my sister or not. I don't think I could do that. But apparently they did. It worked. I mean, I guess each sister had their own house, so hey, why not? And they fathered 21 children. 21. So each wife, one of them had 10 and the other one had 11. Imagine women having 10 children. Oh, couldn't imagine. I know there's women out there that have, but I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't imagine. That is amazing. And this is like in the 1800s. So this is yeah. I could not imagine. After running out of money in 1850, they reinstated the career as Sideshow performers and signed a contract to tour with P.D. Barnum. For the next 20 years, they intermittently performed, and they died 4 hours apart in 1879, leaving a great fortune to their wives. I know from my previous stream that one of the twins had died first, and then the other one had died 4 hours later. That is where that's the crazy part. Just knowing that half of you passed and that your end is coming. It's like, wow. I feel like that stress, because that could cause you stress, probably caused the other one to go too as well. Chris Barber goes, my friend Mary is one of 11. Oh my gosh. That is just crazy. Lisa Boo goes, that would have been horrible. It would have been. I mean, I guess it wouldn't if he accepted your faith and you had peace. I feel like you probably would have, gone peacefully, but I couldn't imagine being in that situation knowing that half of me had passed. And then because it's evidently that your time is going to be up soon too. So, I couldn't imagine that. Julissa goes, that is awful. I'd want to be the first to go. Exactly. Me too. I just couldn't imagine being in that situation. Tarana goes, so crazy. Joanne goes, the other twin, the girl with two heads, just got married. There has to be some kind of a ring. Oh, I did see that, Joanne. There's also in recent news, I used to follow them because they used to have a show on, I don't know, TLC or something, one of those shows. One of those programs. I don't remember. Sabrina, what's going on? How's it going? I forgot what their name. Abby's one of their names. I forgot the other girl's name. Brittany. One of the sisters, and they're conjoined. They're literally two heads, one body. One twin operates one side, the other twin operates the other side, but one of them got married. So I mean, I guess in that case you have to compromise. You have to compromise. You have to. Nothing wrong with that. I am happy that she found someone. I am. But you definitely have to compromise when it comes to that. BS Stone goes, I worked with a lady who had 15 siblings. Oh my gosh. Sabrina goes, not surprised that they basically died together. Water Dragon goes, I would have asked to be separated, wouldn't want to be attached to a dead body for 4 hours. But Water Dragon, this was like, I don't know when they died, but it was probably, I mean, nowadays we probably could have separated them right away. But I think back then there just wasn't enough medical information to do it. Joanne, I agree. Great lesson in communication. Yes, definitely. Definitely. I mean, in their case, they can't be separated. Abby and Brittany, if you guys are familiar with them, they cannot be separated. So they kind of had to, they had to compromise. They have to work together. Gunner Girls, my hubby is the oldest of 13 and 3 are our kids' age. Wow! Gunner Girl. Whoa. I couldn't, I mean, I guess because I was an only child and my dad was an only child, so I can't imagine having, um, uh, a big family. That's like just crazy. I couldn't imagine. Oh, couldn't. But that's awesome though. That's awesome to have a big family. There's nothing wrong with having a big family. I think it's awesome. But me myself, I couldn't imagine having 13 kids. Could not. Carol goes, yes, they share. Abby and Brittany do. They literally are. They cannot be divided. I guess in this article, Chang and Ing were just connected by ligament. So in that case, they probably had their own organs. They might. I don't know if they. I'm not too familiar with it, but I'm guessing they probably in today's terms could have been separated. Carol goes, my grandmother had 9 siblings. Water dragon only children or 2 to 3 kids is the largest I know about in my family. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. Captain Costentinus, if I'm saying his name right, the tattooed man. George Contentinus, America's first tattooed side act. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering his name, so I do apologize. Sorry, George, for butchering your last name. The first tattooed side act was so committed to his stage story that little is known today about his actual origins. Born in 1836, he claimed to be a Greek Albanian prince raised in a Turkish harem. So, I mean, nowadays seeing people tattooed like this is not strange anymore. His 338 tattoos covered nearly every inch of his body, save for his nose and the soles of his feet. Were incredibly ornate and depicted Burmese specific species and symbols from Eastern mythology, snakes, elephants, storks, gazelles, dragons, plants, and flowers of all sorts intermingled on his skin. According to George's tale, because I don't want to keep butchering his last name, he had been on a military expedition in Burma when he and 3 others were captured by savage natives and offered a choice. They could either be cut into pieces from toe to head or receive full body tattoos and be liberated. Should they survive the excruciating process, the soldiers chose the latter option, a process which took 3 months and killed Contentinus's accomplices. I think I would have taken the tattoo too. I would have gotten tattooed over being cut to pieces. Joanne goes, my mom had 10 siblings. Carol goes, you could cut a ligament and still survive. 2, convince the world that his story was true. He even went so far as to publish a 23-page book in 1881 documenting every detail of his alleged experience. It wasn't until much later in his career that Contentinus admitted he had feigned the tale in the hopes of attaining fame and fortune, and that he did. In the 1870s, he partnered with P.T. Barnum and became the American Museum's highest grossing act, taking home more than $1,000 per week, which is $37,000 a week today. That man was rich. An 1879 clipping from the New York Times elaborated on his wealth. This man was living comfortably. In fact, if he had any kids, they were living comfortably after his death. He wears very handsome diamond rings and other jewelry, valued altogether at about $3,000, which is $71,500 in 2014 dollars, and usually goes armed to protect himself from persons who might attempt to rob him. Half the people who visited Captain Costenius Cos or Costentinus, the last specimen of Grecian art, looked as if they would be quite willing to go through the process of having their skins embroidered, if thereby they could ensue a comfortable living without labor. Upon his death, Costantinius donated half of his fortune to the Greek church and the other half to fellow freak show performers who were less fortunate. So I'm not sure. I think he just had tattoos. I don't think he had any piercings or anything. Water Dragon goes, imagine how painful the twig and berries would be. Oh, yeah. Joanne goes, there was a woman who had 3 layers of tattoos on her face complaining that she could not find a job. I wonder why. I wonder why. I know there's people that have tattoos on their face, but they're usually tattoo artists in the music industry or have a job that don't mind if they have facial tattoos. But I know a lot of places nowadays don't like facial tattoos. Water Dragon goes, that's a spicy meatball. But he did a nice thing. He donated, I guess he didn't have any next of kin. I'm assuming because they said that he donated half his fortune to the Greek church and the other half to fellow freak show performers. So he did something nice upon his death. Fedor Jeff Tichu, the dog face boy. They also mentioned him in the X-Files. But I think they said Jim the dog face boy. Born with a hair-covered face in 1873. I believe there is also a person now that has this condition in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. Fedor was destined to follow in his father's footsteps. Adrian Jeffichu, known throughout Europe as the Siberian Dogman, was highly superstitious and believed that both he and Fedor were on the receiving end of divine punishment. Following his father's early death, the 16-year-old Fedor became a ward of the Russian government. By this time, he was covered with long, silky, fur-like hair that grew thickest on his face. While the public perceived him to be animal-like and savage, he was contrarily inquisitive, soft-spoken, and shy. Fedor was adopted by a cold-hearted showman, brought to England, and advised as the boy who was raised by wolves in the Siberian wilderness. The ever-enterprising P.T. Barnum saw the act, purchased the boy's contract, and transitioned him into the United States in 1884. But as with any of his performers, Barnum needed to embellish Fedor's story. Of course, he's got to make the people want to see him. So of course they got to make him interesting. I get it. I understand that. That's the same with anything today. People aren't going to watch unless there's something that catches their eye. So I totally understand. Water Dragon goes, yes, Mexico or South America, whole family, I think. Gunner Girl goes, that looks fake. Oh, it is Jojo, the dog face boy. Ha! The child. So I mean, I guess the X-Files had some truth. The child became Jojo, the dog face boy, and played the stereotype of the Victorian naturalist's approximation of a prehistoric man. He'd been found in a cave deep in the forests of central Russia, feeding on berries and hunting with a rudimentary club. After enduring a bloody battle to capture the beast, hunters taught him to walk upright, wear clothes, and speak like a dignified human. Barnum dressed Fedor in a Russian cavalry uniform and had him play up his savage nature, barking, growling, and baring his teeth at onlookers. Throughout the 1880s, Fedor was among the highest paid performers in the business, netting $500 per week, which is $13,000 today. By the time of his retirement, his savings totaled nearly $300,000, which is $7.6 million. Hugs. What's up, Hugs? She goes, I love how Lisa reads. Thank you, Hugs. I appreciate that. Water dragon goes, is that where Tarzan comes from? I don't know, to be honest with you. Water dragon, it is a medical condition. I know that. A lot of besides the tattoos, obviously, but a lot of what was shown in the freak show was a medical condition. They even have a condition where your skin looks like scales. So, I mean, it kind it I feel for the people. I feel for the people that have this condition. Um I mean, yeah, you could say yes, they can shave it off, but it'll just grow back. Death of the freak show. By the 1890s, the freak show began to wane in popularity. By 1950, they had nearly vanished. For one, curiosity and mystery were quelled by advance in medicine. So-called freaks were now diagnosed with real scientifically explained diagnosis, so advancement in medicine. The show lost their luster as physical and medical conditions were no longer touted as miraculously, and the fanciful stories told by showmen were increasingly discredited by hard science. As spectators began more aware of the grave nature of the performers' conditions, wonder was replaced by pity. Movies and television, both of which rose to prominence in the early 20th century, offered other forms of entertainment and quenched society's demand for oddities. People could see wild and astonishing things from the comfort of a theater or home by the 20s and were less inclined to spend money on live shows. Media also made realities more accessible, further discrediting the story showmen told. For instance, in a film, audience members could see that the people of Borneo weren't actually as savage as advertised by P.T. Barnum. But the true death chime of the freak show was the rise of disability rights. Simply put, taking utter delight in others' physical misfortune was finally frowned upon. The moral debate. Carol goes, even today, they would still consider. I mean, we're more compassionate, Carol, but I do agree there are some people that call even people without deformities um freaks uh because of their orientation. I hate to say it. There's some people like that. Joanne goes, so Burnham peed his victims. Well, he did. So I mean, if you think of it, it sucks that they were um put out there, but at the same time, they were able to amass a living and be able to retire well and live well. He did not skimp them at all. Like he treated them well. I want to say. Even at their peak, these shows had been vehemently critiqued as exploitative and demeaning. In 1861, British historian Henry Mayhew wrote a study in which he dismissed them as nothing more than human degradation. Instead of being a means of illustrating a moral precept, freak shows turned into a platform to teach the cruelest debauchery. The men who preside over these infamous places know too well the failings of their audiences. Undoubtedly, most early sideshow performers were taken advantage of, manipulated, and pushed into the industry unwillingly. Only one of the performers we profiled above, Captain Costantinius, entered the trade out of his own volition. Consequently, he also made himself an oddity rather than being born one. In the 50s, Carol Grant, a 16-year-old with a deformity, was highly offended after attending a sideshow and sent a letter to North Carolina's agricultural commissioner. Handicapped people are seeking more in life than being stared at in a sideshow, she wrote. The letter garnered national attention and raised the debate. Should performers have the options of appearing in these shows should they choose to do so? I feel like if someone wants to do it, they should be able to do it. And I kind of agree with Captain C here. He did it. He didn't really have a deformity. He was the tattooed man. He just was a person with a bunch of tattoos, which is normal, actually, kind of nowadays. But he chose to join the show. Harvey Boswell, a sideshow operator and paraplegic, responded to Grant. I'm stared at, but it doesn't bother me, nor does it bother the freaks when they are stared at on their way to the bank to deposit the 100, 150, 200, and even 500 per week that some of the more sensational human oddities receive for their showings in the sideshow. Longtime showman Bobby Reynolds also pitched in 2 cents. If you're a mutilation of sorts, or mutation of sorts, the biggest thrill you get is opening the mailbox and getting a check from the government, or you get put in an institution. People say, oh, you took advantage of these people. We didn't take advantage of these people. They were stars. They were somebody. They enjoyed themselves. Nonetheless, by the mid 20th century, remaining performers migrated into traveling carnivals or museums, making only a fraction of what they made a few decades prior. Many who relied on sideshows to make a handsome living died in destitution with little to no disability support. This is the Lizard Man. I have seen him pop up on shows in the past, so I know of him. There was also, if you're familiar with that X-Files episode, I know I keep bringing it up. There was that tattooed puzzle guy. He's real. That guy actually has the puzzles tattooed on him. I thought maybe he was a person where they actually put the tattoos on him, but he's real. Joanne goes, you be you, you are you, you do you, live your life. Exactly. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it if someone wants to do it. And it's like one of the performers had said, they're making a living off of it when they might have not been able to have that sort of income because of their disability, but now they do, and they're able to buy a house, put food on a table, support their family, whatever it may be. So I get the connotation of it, but if someone wants to do it, I don't see anything wrong with it. That's their choice. Water Dragon goes, Enigma is the puzzle guy. Yes, I think his name was Enigma, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you, Water Dragon. Cutter Girl goes, ew, how do they eat? I guess they figure out somehow they have a trick. Leonor, what is up? But I mean, like, it's the same thing with these guys in the picture. They chose to do that. That was their choice. To transform their bodies like that. I know there's a guy out there that's trying to make himself look like what is it? Michael Jackson. There's the I think is Filipino Superman, I think his name is. He's trying to make himself look like Superman. It's their choice. Something I personally would not do, but it's their choice. And if someone wants to do it, that makes them happy. More power to them. Water Dragon goes, some of the people that get fully tattooed do it because skin conditions. True. And I know some people get tattoos to cover scars because they don't want to remember the scars. They have they were a cutter maybe when they were younger, and they want to cover it up, but they're no longer one because they overcame it, but they want to cover it up. Or surgical scars that they have gotten, they want to cover them up. Maybe like exactly what Water Dragon said, a skin condition. So I mean, it's not necessarily. I know there's women out there that had breast cancer, had the mass removed both breasts. Can't think of the word right now, and they get their chest tattooed as a symbol of their strength and survival. So I see nothing wrong with it if someone chooses to do it. I have tattoos, so I like tattoos. I mean, I might not do what these two gentlemen did, but Water Dragon goes, I've seen the Michael Jackson dude, I think, does he ever look like him? I don't think anyone can ever look like anyone. Even with uh plastic surgery. I mean, you could probably get close, but I don't think you'll ever like look identical. Gunner Girl goes, Travis Barker has his whole body covered from getting burned in a plane crash. Yes. Sometimes there's a reason for why people do it. It has nothing to help them to not remember what they went through, because some people don't want those scars there. Joanne goes, I agree. If it makes you happy and you are not hurting anyone, I agree. Water Dragon goes, on Ink Master, saw a breast cancer survivor get gorgeous floral tattoos. I've seen some beautiful tattoos that women have gotten to it's a symbol of strength of what they had endured, and beautiful. It's beautiful. So it just depends on how what the situation is and how you see it. While freak shows were ousted for their questionable morals, they exist today, just not in the traditional sense. Television network TLC, for instance, has proved that curiosity still sells, just as P.D. Barnum exploited Fat Boy Ulak Eckert. TLC's My 600-Pound Life exploits the sensational aspects of America's morbidly obese. The network's Little People Big World lightheartedly portrays the struggle of a dwarf couple. As Barnum, I feel like little, because I do watch Little People Big World, and I feel like it shows, you get to know the people. It does show their struggles, but it's also, I feel like it's a learning experience. So I don't feel like it's exploiting anybody. I really don't. As Barnum did with Tom Thumb, The Man with Half a Body, and I Am the Elephant Man, each prey on the same prying eyes that funded freak shows throughout the 1800s. And like their predecessors, these modern day, I feel like these shows, they're not exploiting. I feel like they're bringing awareness of what people are going through. I don't feel like this is exploitation. So I kind of disagree with whoever wrote this article with this. And also, too, the person has a choice. So if they choose to do it, I don't feel like it's. I feel if it was against their will, yeah, that's another story. But if they choose to do it, that's a different story. And like their predecessors, these modern day stars are paid for their exploitation, up to $8,000 per episode. But like I said, I don't feel like it's the exploitation. I don't. Shiloh Toto, what is up? How's it going? There are also those like Eric Sprague, who transferred himself to the Lizard Man, which we pictured above, with head to toe green scale tattoos, a split tongue, and filed teeth. It looks like he also got an implant on his eyebrows, a dermal implant, which I know some people do. And filed his teeth, all products of personal volition. He brands himself as a professional freak, just in case there's any doubt as to whether or not this is true. Freak is prominently inked across his chest. Sprague is part of a body modification subculture that explicitly seeks freak stardom. But for the majority of the 19th century, freaks' notoriety wasn't a choice. They grew to accept their lifestyle and appreciated wealth and fame, but paid for it in other ways. Frank Lentini, a three-legged man who was once dubbed King of the Freaks, confirmed this in a newspaper interview at the turn of the century. My limb does not bother me, he wrote, as much as the curious, critical gaze. So there are two sides to the story. I mean, they were able to make a living when they weren't able to otherwise, but also too, they were looked at as a oddity. So that kind of Oh my God, Shiloh Toto, I'm glad you are okay. It's been a while. I had a small stroke last week, still dealing with the after effects. Shiloh Toto, I am glad you're okay. Um, just take it easy. Take one day at a time, but I'm glad you are here. I also have an article that kind of shows I'm not going to read the article cuz it probably goes over things that I have read before, but it does have cool flyers on it. I don't know how accurate these flyers are, but I wanted to share the flyers with you, so we will show them. So these are the type of flyers you might have seen. Um, I know nowadays you could use AI to make these, so I'm not sure how accurate these are, but this is a flyer that you might have seen while going to one of these shows back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. And some pictures as well. Just to show some. Go through them again real quick. I think this one with the tattooed lady looks so cool. I mean, this tattooed obviously is normal now, but back then it probably wasn't as normal. And then, hold on here. I've got this article. It would help if I brought it up. I won't read the entire article because we probably have already gone over it, but there is something um that kind of all right. This has some, it shows more. Joanne goes, the spectators did not always say the nicest things to these individuals as they were viewing them. True. True. That too. I mean, it's kind of like being in customer service. Nowadays, you do get people that are rude to you for no reason, and sometimes it does affect you. I've seen people in tears because of what a customer had said to them. I've been affected, but when I first started being in retail, I mean, it's usually when someone hasn't been in it for too long, you could see them getting affected. But yeah, some people can be cruel. They can be. Water Dragon goes, speaking of freaks, who's excited for Deadpool and Wolverine? Okay, I have a thing. I love Deadpool. I do, but I believe this movie is under Disney. I have a thing with Disney. And I'm not sure because of the direction that Disney is going and how they kind of, I don't know, they've got it. I don't know what to expect from this movie. So I'm not a big fan of Disney right now because they kind of ruined. This is my opinion. You guys can have other opinions. They kind of ruined Star Wars. Um, I think they're trying to be too. Instead of paying attention to the source material, they're trying to be too. I don't know the word. I can't think of the word right now, but I feel like that it doesn't make me excited for Deadpool and Wolverine because of it. I know the first Deadpool, I believe, was under Fox, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm afraid that they're going to change the dynamics a bit because now it's on Disney. I did hear that it is, I believe it's still rated R, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, but that's the reason why I have my reserves. Tyrana goes, yes, I was in retail for 13 years and don't miss it. Chris Barber goes, put it this way, if a Disney movie doesn't suck, then I'm surprised. Water Dragon goes, yes, it's under Disney, but I saw an interview with Ryan Hugh and the director. I think it's the first R-rated movie for Disney. It's going to be like a Deadpool movie, I think. Yeah, but still, it's going to have, because it's under Disney and Disney still has say about the movie, there's going to be things in that movie that's reflected in other Disney movies. So don't worry, I am going to give it a chance. I'm not going to block it because I always give something a chance, but I just have those like I'm going to have low expectations for. I'm not going to go in there with any expectations, in other words. Sabrina goes, I love Deadpool, but got real nervous when I saw Disney doing it. Disney ruins everything now. Deadpool, I am a DC fan. I really do not like Marvel, but Deadpool is one of the Marvel side that I do like. So, but like Sabrina said, I believe I exactly have the same beliefs as you, Sabrina. They've ruined a lot of things. They're trying to be, I don't know what's the word. Instead of paying attention to the quality and this is my opinion. You guys can have other opinions, but instead of paying attention to the source material and they're worried about other things. Like I feel like when they're making their films, they're not worried about making they've got too much, like they're worried about what other people think. I feel like society, like they're trying to be inclusive. They're trying to be, I don't know, I want to say they're kind of woke in a way. Um Instead of paying attention to what they need to do and make a great film. Leonardo goes, screw Disney, they better make it right. Sabrina goes, they're focused on being woke. Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but that's kind of how I feel that they're trying to be. Water Dragon, they gotta fire Kathleen Kennedy and her. They do. They do. I mean, I do see her name on Indiana Jones. I do see her name on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which is one of my favorite movies. I do see her names on those older films, but she didn't call the shots back then. So I would hate. I mean, I was impressed with the new Indiana Jones. I was, but it just had too much CGI in it. It wasn't like the original. But I agree with you, Water Dragon. All right, continuing on, since we went on the rabbit hole of Disney. And it makes me, same thing too, before I get into this article, same thing too with, what is it? The new Star Wars that's coming out on June 4th, I believe. Same thing with that. It makes me not interested to see Star Wars. And I'm not like a huge Star Wars fan, but I like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Like I grew up with it. I'm not a biggest fan as some people. Like Lewis is a huge fan. I'm not super huge fan, but it makes me not excited. And I used to be excited for Star Wars, and it makes me not excited for Star Wars because Disney Star Wars is not. It sucks. Plain straight. That's okay, Water Dragon. That's all right. I don't mind it. That's okay, Water Water Dragon goes, sorry for the rabbit hole. That's okay. I don't mind. Brings up good conversations. Kind of doesn't go with the spooky wookie, but still, it's still good to bring up some things sometimes. I don't mind it at all. So these are the legendary Sideshow. It had some on here. It did mention Lazarus, but it's mentioned some that weren't mentioned in the previous article. So Lazarus and Joans were Italian conjoined twins who toured Europe during the 17th century. The upper body of Joans, Baptista, and his left leg stuck out of his brother. He did not speak and kept his eyes closed and mouth open at all times. When not performing, Lazarus covered his brother with a cloak. Creo, the missing link. Creo was put on display in London in 1882. By 1885, she was moved to the Dime Oddities Museum in Philadelphia and toured with P.D. Barnum for some years. She ended her career as a performer at Coney Island in New York City. And here are some of the, this is probably like the ad. Madame Gustica of the Duckbill Tribe. Circus Freak, Madame Gustica. I feel like she is not really circus freak. I feel like this is more of a tradition within her tribe, but it is an oddity, none the fact. But Circus Freak Madame Gustica is seen below smoking a pipe with an extended mouthpiece for her large lips during a show in a circus in New York on April 12, 1930. Little is known about her, but she was probably from a tribe in Ethiopia where the practice of lip stretching remained popular into modern times. There are still tribes that do this. There's also tribes that do, which I find is interesting. There's also tribes that I believe it's in Asia somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. They put brass rings around their neck to stretch their neck. And I find that interesting. I really do. I know it's part of their tradition and their culture. Water Dragon goes, Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 were excellent. I like Rey's character. That's about it. I hate to say it. The prequels are actually kind of starting to look good compared to Disney's Star Wars. Chris goes, I have loved Star Wars since I was 12, but the last movies were not that good. Leonard goes, Chris, I loved reading those comics, more Marvel comics, opposite with Lisa's DC. When they make these characters messed up, I do get mad. Water Dragon goes, if they take off their rings, they cannot support their heads. Exactly. I find it interesting, but it's part of their culture, so I don't see anything wrong with it. But it's just it's kind of interesting to see how high they go up. It's crazy. It really is. If you guys have ever seen that, it's crazy to see. The Saloon Sisters, Ella and Elvira. The Saloon Sisters is pictured on a vintage postcard billed as the two-headed woman. The caption of the bottom reads, one girl, two heads, two girls, one body, alive. Some person like this could not be separated at all. Even in today's standards, with the medical technology that we have now, there's no way they could be separated. Raja with a second face. Below is a Victorian-era postcard featuring the Raja with the second face. Nothing else is known about the performer. I have never heard of some of these, but they're kind of interesting. The Harmillo sisters of 1802, Natalie and Aurora Harmillo, were from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Natalie was born in 1889. Aurora in 1896. That is a beautiful name. The sisters suffered from microcephaly, a condition that causes people's heads to be significantly smaller than usual. People with the ailment were mockingly referred to as pinheads. Miss Rosina Rose Foster, aka Medea, Miss Tiny. Miss Rosina toured throughout Europe and despite having no arms could crochet using her feet. She concluded her show shows with the following. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I may say that as this is my means of getting a living, you will kindly recommend your friends to see my show. Lionel, the lion-faced boy. Stefan Bobrovsky. Lionel, the lion-faced boy, moved to the United States from Poland in 1901 and began traveling with the Barnum and Bailey Circus. By the 20s, he had moved to New York City and became a popular sideshow performer at Coney Island. He was known to be kind, gentle, and extremely intelligent. He spoke 5 languages. That's amazing, being able to speak 5 languages. Water dragon goes with piercings and mods. Today, people are doing weirder things than most tribes now. Yes, they are. Joanne goes, 1 woman, 2 heads, most men's nightmare. Exactly. Josephine Myrtle Corbin of 1818. Josephine had 2 separate pelvises growing side by side, each featuring 1 normal side leg and 1 smaller leg. She became a sideshow performer at the age of 13 and was dubbed the 4-legged girl from Texas, even though she was from Tennessee. She married Dr. Clinton Bicknell and had 5 children, reportedly 3 from her left uterus and 2 from the right. That is crazy. That is kind of cool how the body works. General Tom Thumb, which we know about, he passed away. I'll just read a little bit. He stood at 3 inches, 5 foot tall. He traveled the world until his death at the age of 45. James Morris, the Elastic Man. James Morris toured as the India Rubber Man or the Elastic Skin Wonder. He was extremely popular, especially when he took the skin around his neck and pulled it over his eyes. I believe there are people that it's a skin condition. I forgot what it's called, but I remember seeing other people that have this skin condition. Ethel Granger. Oddly enough, Granger's 13-inch waist in 1959 was due to her husband, William Granger, who was obsessed with the idea of a wasp-waisted woman. Her husband required Ethel Granger to wear a corset so that she would have a narrow waist. She wore it day and night. Her husband fetishism also led him to start piercing Ethel himself. She received several piercings from her husband in her nose, lips, cheeks, and nipples. Poor woman. I mean, we have waist trimmers now, but that's a little too much. That is a little too much. And the piercings, oh my God, poor woman. Because I feel like that wasn't her choice. It was her husband's choice. Ella Harper, Camel Girl. Ella was born with a rare orthopedic condition that caused her knees to bend backwards. Her preference to walk on all 4s resulted in her nickname Camel Girl. In 1886, she was featured in the star in W.H. Harris's nickel plate circus, appearing in newspapers whenever the circus visited. The back of her pitch card read, "I am called the Camel Girl because my knees turn backwards." She is probably double jointed. I can walk best on my hands and feet as you see me in the picture. I have traveled considerably in the show business for the past 4 years, and now this is 1886, and I intend to quit the show business and go to school and fit myself for another occupation. True to her pitch card, after 1886, there was no historical references to Ella Harper. There are there are people that can do this today, and they use them in horror films. Because they're double jointed and they can move their joints in crazy ways. I always thought it would be cool to be double jointed. Grady Stiles, the lobster boy. Like many members of his family before him, Grady Stiles Jr. was born with ectrodactyl, a condition which fused fingers and toes and claw-like appendages. Grady's father was already part of a freak show with a traveling carnival, so Grady began performing early as the lobster boy. I think this runs in the family. I remember seeing I don't know what I remember seeing a show about him. and I believe it runs throughout his entire family. Leonore, thank you for the super sticker. Hearts for Leonore, guys. Alice Elizabeth Dorothy, 1887 to 1933. Alice Dorothy was billed as the bearded lady after her father recognized the potential to. There was also this reminds me because there was a bearded lady. There was on Venice Beach. They were also on TV. They were a freak show. But they closed down, so I'm not sure where their whereabouts now, but they did have the bearded lady. In fact, the daughter, I followed her. She would do like the fire breathing thing act. They had like animals like a two-headed turtle. It was a show way back in the day, but it was on, I think it was called Venice Freak Show. It was in Venice, but unfortunately they closed down, so I'm not sure where they went. I do still follow the daughter that was a part of it, but she doesn't really show much of her performing anymore. After her father recognized the potential to make money from her and began to display her at 2 years old, Dorothy was never interested in entertainment but continued to perform in freak shows to support her family, anxiously awaiting retirement. She retired from the entertainment business in 1915 and died of bronchial pneumonia in Dallas, Texas on June 13th, 1933 at the age of 46. Mirren Daho, the invulnerable man. Popular freak show character Daho could insert swords through his body without suffering any injuries. Several doctors examined Daho, even performing x-rays on him with a sword still sticking through his body. In 1948, he claimed that voices compelled him to swallow a steel needle. He did, and after complications from the surgery, Daho died a few days later from an aortic rupture. Lorello, the human owl. Whoa. Yes, the photo is real. Lorello, the only man with a revolving head, appeared in Sam Wagner's Freak Show on Coney Island in 1938. To accomplish this feat, he reportedly practiced rotating his head for 3 years and may have had to dislocate various vertebrae to accomplish the feat. So this is a real photo, ladies and gentlemen. That is crazy. Joanne goes, Lobster Boy got in trouble with the law. Aaron goes, that skin condition is called Ehlers-Danlos, and it affects joints too, causing double jointed people too. A lot of sideshow performers were just people who had Ehlers-Danlos. Want the human unicorn. Wang was found in Manchuria, China by an ambitious banker who snapped a photo in 1930 of 13-inch horn growing from the back of his head. Ripley spent years trying to get him to perform in his show. The man refused. This photo is all that he was allowed to display. Isaac Sprague, the skeleton man. Sprague began losing weight at the age of 12 after feeling ill after swimming. The weight loss continued throughout his life. Doctors described his condition as extreme progressive muscular atrophy. He often carried a flask of milk around his neck that he would sip from time to time to keep himself conscious. 2 years before his death, Isaac stood 5'6" and weighed a mere 45 pounds. Lalo and his parasitic twin. Below is a rare image of a young Lalo with a parasitic twin. 1874 to 1905, Lalo traveled with Barnum and Bailey and Norris and Rao circuses. So there was different circuses at the time that displayed freak shows, or that had freak shows, I should say. The twin had no brain, but did have a pelvic, a male sexual organ with which he could urinate. Despite its gender, the twin was often dressed in girls' clothes to elevate Lalo's performance. I mean, nowadays, with medical technology that we have today, this could be removed. But at that time, they probably had no way of knowing how to remove it. Bill Dirks, the man with three eyes, Bill Dirks, he went 1913 till 1975, aka the man with three eyes, or the man with two faces, appeared as though he had two faces on one head. He was born to normal parents. He joined the freak show when he was about 40 years old. Dirks and his wife, Mildred Dirks, aka the alligator skin woman, were voted the most weirdest couple. Bill's third eye was painted on his sideshow axe. Joanne goes, so she could procreate? Or he could. The parasitic twin was a male. I'm guessing because it said it could urinate. Was a male. But they would dress him up like a female for the act. Unfortunately. All right, guys. How many more to read? Oh, there's two more. Grace McDaniels, the mule face lady. Grace, pictured below with her son Elmer, was billed as the mule face woman due to facial deformities known as Sturge-Weber syndrome. Fannie Mills, the Ohio Bigfoot girl. Known as the Ohio Bigfoot girl, Miles suffered from a disease called Milroy disease, which caused for legs and feet to become gigantic. She was born in Sussex, England, and had two sisters. Both other sisters were born normally. She was married to William Brown in 1886. William was born in 1834 and died in 1904. Fanny was only 39 when she died. She had a baby in August of 1887, but it passed. Fanny's feet got to be 17 inches long until she died in 1899. Just to give you some freak show performers that had performed. All right, guys, I'm going to open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to add on, want to talk about Disney, whatever it may be, we could go for it. But I find it interesting. I mean, there was good things about it. To summarize, there was good things about it, and there was also bad things about it. Leonore is asking, where is the duck? The duck is... I even forgot where the duck goes. Oh, the duck is right there. He is right next to Skelegoose. He's got his back toward us. He's right where my finger is. I had to look for a second because I didn't even remember where I put him. Thank you, Leonore, for reminding me. I have an announcement to make, guys. Unfortunately, you may be seeing me. I've been dreading to make this assignment, but you might see me less here on YouTube. Unfortunately, I cannot pay my bills doing this, so I am going to have to look for other choices here. So the amount of videos I put up may be less going forward, just as a warning if you're wondering where I went. I probably will still go live on the same exact days. I'm going to try to keep those. If there are any changes, I will let you know. It's just been getting worse and worse the past month. So I have to make that decision, and I got to take care of myself. So unfortunately, if you're wondering where I went, that is what happened. I will try to keep my lives on the same day, but if I have to change, I will let you know. I like to keep things on schedule. So unfortunately, and I don't know how long, I may not even go live as often as well too. Water Dragon goes, best of luck, Lisa. I hear you too, in the same boat. I mean, people like to support people that are sponsored more than us little people. So I got to do what I got to do. So you will probably see me less on here, unfortunately. Because I can't even pay for gas in my car. It's that bad. So, with further ado, if you guys have any questions, let me know. Tyrana goes, you have to do what's best for you. Joanne, it may be a lot less. I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. Leonor goes, I'm sorry to hear it. Lisa, do what you got to do. Just if you're wondering where I went, that is where I went. Leonor, we will be waiting when you can. I'll probably. Also, too, guys, next Thursday, I will be on Doof Doof Paranormal. I know I have a feeling it's pretty much the same people here from the last time. But next Thursday, I will be on Doof Doof Paranormal's YouTube channel. We are going to talk about. Let me pull her up here. And near death experiences. So I need to research this. So if you guys haven't done so, if you could subscribe to Doof Doof Paranormal, she has already set up the video. I think I'm here somewhere. I am right here. So next Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going on a little early. I will be on Doof Doof channel. So if you haven't done so, subscribe to her and also notify yourself on this video that I have on the screen. So, if you haven't done so, check her out. She does stuff similar to what I do. It's no BS. She's actually gone on investigations. She's been to Virginia City, which is in Nevada, which is a city I've been wanting to go to. She doesn't over sensationalize the videos. So if you want truth, with no BS, check her out. She's very similar to my channel. Carol goes, I'm already subbed. But just in case you are not subbed, and also notify yourself on the video that I have on the screen. But if you're not subbed, I will put her, I think I have it here somewhere. I will drop her. Kyle, how's it going? All right, I dropped her channel in the chat. So if you guys have not subbed, or click on that notification bell. If you follow me on my socials, I will remind you. I'll drop the link there too as well, closer to the day. But on June 6th, next Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Doof Doof Paranormal Karen and I will be talking about near-death experiences. So if you guys can make it, that'd be kind of cool. I'm gonna be talking to a whole new crowd, so as we kind of I'm looking forward to that. I need to read up on my ND. I've never had a near-death experience, so I need to do a little research on that. But it's gonna be fun. I've had her on the show before, so and I'm probably gonna I'll probably have her on one of my shows as well. Thank you guys for subscribing. Shiloh Toto goes, I live right off of a toll road, which is at the base of Virginia City. We'd love to have you. Oh, that's cool, Shiloh Toto. She does stuff similar to me, but I think I do it in a little different format. But she does she speaks to, like, she interviewed Bill Schrader. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with him, but she's interviewed skeptic. She's interviewed like paranormal investigators, stuff like that. Chris goes, I may be effed up for my. That's okay, Chris. If you can't make it, I totally understand. I totally understand, especially with that. Make sure you catch it on the replay, though, Chris. But I do, like Leonore says, I do have to look up near death experiences. I have never had an experience. I do know, I've seen a few shows that talked about it, but I'm going to do a little research. So I'm super excited about it. She is a fun lady. I've had her on here before. You might have seen her on Nerd Report as well. And that is next Thursday, June 6th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Guys, do you have any questions? So I'm not looking at the screen light. I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Don't leave just yet. Unless anyone doesn't have any questions. If no one has any questions, then. Or a topic they want to bring up. Leonard goes, Lisa, love the Disney Ghost. Thank you. I actually had fun doing that show. I didn't realize the happiest place on earth was so shrouded in accidents. I had no idea. Like how dark some of the reasonings for these ghosts. It's crazy. Tyrana goes, how has your weekend been? Been good. I've been doing some trying to do some spring cleaning while I have the time. Be a stone, I am most likely probably going to have to do retail again, which I'm dreading. But I'm going to try a different company. And because it's the start of summer, I'm not sure because there's going to be a lot of people coming out of school looking for a summer job. So I am not sure, but we'll see. If not, I can always go back to the place I started at. They'll take me like that. Plus, I know a few people that I work at another store, not the same store. I'm not going back to the same store. Hell no. But if I have to, I do know someone that moved stores because she had the same problems I did at past store and she loves it there. So if I have to, I could go back. But I am not going back. Like Leonor says, I'm not going back to the company I was with. I'm going to try not to, but if I have to, I have no choice. I will, but I know I'm not going to be happy. Because that's my background. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, that's my background, but I can always do other things. I don't necessarily. You could use that retail experience to get something else. You don't necessarily have to do retail. In fact, she had asked me the other day, because there was another coworker of ours that had left our store too. And she's happy where she's at now. So it's like, it just may be the store. Carol, I thought of doing DoorDash, but I don't want to put all those miles on my car. I don't have a new car. I have a 2012 with 100 and something thousand miles on it. So I do not know. I do not want to do that to my car. I thought of that. I thought of that, Carol. I thought of doing that or doing like Instacart or something like that, but it all requires you to use your car, and that's something I don't want to use. I don't. I don't want to put the extra wear and tear on my car. I have a pretty good car, don't get me wrong. It's done me right. But I just don't want to dig an early grave for my car. And I know a car is meant to drive, but I don't want to put the extra wear and tear like that on it. Carol goes, my brother's doing DoorDash with my Tahoe with 3. Plus, also, Carol, gas. That's another thing. Gas costs an arm and a leg here. It's not half. It cost, I spend like, yeah, it cost almost $50 to fill my tank here. And I have a 4-cylinder 2-door sedan. So that, just to give you background on it. So yeah. Maybe if I had an electrical car, maybe that would be, I would think of doing that, but even that I wouldn't. It's just, that's an extra, Leonardo, yeah, gas is expensive, or that's an extra. I was out weighing it and I saw some videos about it because I thought, I thought of that, like if I had to just to pick up something to quick, I thought of that. I did think about that, but the cost of gas, the amount I would pay in gas would not be profitable doing that. It's super expensive. I mean, I get pretty good mileage on the highway if I'm driving highway, but it's the city that kills me. Or the stop and go. So that's definitely, I mean, there's people that do it here, but I feel like you really have to go above and beyond just to make to come out even. Or ahead, I should say. Not even, ahead. That's why I just rather drive to one location and and go from there. Carol goes, the Tahoe's a 1997 vintage. That is cool. Leonore, I love driving. Leonore, I agree with you. I love driving. I'll drive anywhere, but yeah, those I'll drive. I love road trips. I love driving. You don't understand how much I love driving, but the gas prices, I agree. The gas prices, and then yeah, that's like the main thing here. And they're gonna go up. They keep going up. Kyle goes, it's almost $2 a liter for gas here. That's crazy, Kyle. And I know it's supposed to go up because they're supposed to be switching to the summer blend. So the gas is going to go up again. Joanne goes, very, very expensive here in Ontario. Seniors like me are having a difficult time. Wow. So I guess we're not the only one with the crazy gas prices. Canada has the crazy gas prices too. Leonore goes, 5 per gallon. Leonore, there's some places that are 7. I saw a place that was almost like $8 a gallon in like downtown LA. Carol goes, it's $3.50 here, but last time I saw it, dang, I would love $3.50. I know we were complaining when gas here was $3.50. We would die to have gas at $3.50 now. It's that darn gas tax that people decided to vote on here in California, which I didn't vote on because I damn well knew it wasn't going to go for the roads. The people didn't read behind the lines. Nerd Report, thank you for that super sticker. And it's the fitness pair hearts for Nerd Report. Thank you, Nerd Report. You didn't have to do that. Nerd Report goes super sticker train. Hearts for Nerd Report, guys. Nerd Report, thank you for the another super sticker of the fitness pair. A bunch of hearts for Nerd Report. Thank you, Nerd Report. Kyle in 02, it was 63 a liter. I think when I went there, Kyle, I went there. When did I go there? In 96. I believe. Leonore, thank you for the super sticker. Hearts for Leonore as well. Kyle, when I went there, I think it was in 96 because it was after I graduated from high school. I graduated in 96. I just aged myself, but oh well. I went there with my my mom and dad because I wanted to go to Canada because my favorite singer came from Canada, Bryan Adams. So we went to Canada. It was my graduation gift. I think it was like 30 something cents per liter. 39 or something like that. Because I remember looking at, because I forgot it was in liters. I was like, 39 cents a gallon? That's cheap. I remember it. Joanne, yes, food too. Food is expensive. You can't even get food nowadays for. You can't get food like you could before the pandemic. Like even that, everything went up. Sabrina goes, I love driving too. I miss the days where it cost me $40 to get to and from Vegas. Oh yeah. I used to fill up my tank. It used to be under $30. Now it's like double that. Yes, I liked Bryan Adams when I was younger. I still do. I have a place for him in my heart because he's the one that got me into love for music. He was. When I was 12 years old and I heard Everything I Do It For You from Prince of Thieves, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, fell in love with Bryan Adams. Carol goes, property and food have taxes. They are out. Yes, they're out. They're bad. Even property tax is crazy. Luckily for me, it's been pretty consistent the last couple years, but having to pay property taxes is crazy. And my homeowner's insurance, it's going up every month. I do live behind a hill, so my homeowner's insurance, there's a lot involved when you own a house. It's not what you think. Like you got to pay a homeowner's insurance. I know a lot of people in this area that had I know some of you guys probably don't even know who State Farm is because you're not in this area, but a lot of people had State Farm and they were dropped by State Farm because of the fire danger in this area. Tyrana, thank you for the super sticker of the fitness pair of fist bumping hearts for Tyrana as well. Thank you, Tyrana. Leonard goes, yay, me too. I love that song from Robin Hood. I mean, I don't picture Kevin Costner as Robin Hood. I don't. But, but I just love that song. Bryan Adams did not like making the video for that song. That's how he did not. And Bryan Adams is still rocking to this day. He's like 60, I think. How old is he? He's 64 years old and he's still rocking. Chris goes, my homeowner insurance went up to $1,000 a month or $100 a month. Dang. I know mine went up. It went up, didn't go up that much. but it went up like 10 bucks, which is not that bad compared to you, Chris. Nikki Bella, how's it going? We are just hanging out now. I'm opening up for questions and answers. And Joanne says in the 70s, for around 20 bucks round trip to Montreal from Ottawa, and took it to a hockey game at the Forum. Dang, that's crazy. But unfortunately, you have to pay for Sabrina. Thank you for that super sticker of the cool person with the hearts. Hearts for Sabrina. Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate that. Hearts for Sabrina, guys. Thank you, Sabrina. Sabrina, I appreciate that. And you have a cool name. I like your name. I do like your name. It's a cool name. We're just hanging out right now for anyone just scrolling by. We talked about the freak show and the history of the freak show. Because I do talk about all things spooky, unexplained, strange, and unusual. I'll talk about bugs. I don't care. Sabrina goes, "You're welcome. Some gas money for." Thank you, Sabrina. I appreciate that. I really do. Talking about crazy gas prices, homeowners insurance. Taxes. You want to name it. Joanne goes, "Beekeeping tomorrow. That sounds like fun." That does sound like fun. One of these days I need to Joanne, one of these days I need to try it. I really do. I love bees. I do love bees. So I would so enjoy that. Chris goes, "I need to find cheaper insurance." I kind of keep with the insurance. Well, it's the insurance my dad had before he passed, so I kind of just kept the same insurance. And especially with hearing a bunch of people losing their insurance for their home in this area, so I feel blessed to kind of still have it and not having to worry about looking. But I feel like they're all, and I know I did a quote with some other insurance company, it ended up being more. So I did do some research before, so but I think with everything goes up. Even my car insurance has gone up, and I don't have any accidents or tickets or anything. So it's just the way, it's the sign of the times, unfortunately. Sign of the times. And I hope it turns around for the rest of us, or for the rest of not just in the state of California, but everywhere. Carol goes, "My insurance for both houses is about 120 a month here for now." Dang! You are lucky, Carol. Chris goes, "I feel lucky to live in a state that doesn't get a lot of natural disasters." That is good, Chris. We have a fire danger here in this area. Um, and I guess one of the neighbors had gone house to house saying that when they built the warehouse, because behind my house is a hill, but it used to be a field, but behind it, they built a big warehouse a little further down, though. It's not exactly behind it, but they build a warehouse in the field behind. But there is a hill, a grassy hill, and then goes down, and then you probably walk a bit, and then you'll see the warehouse. I guess apparently when they built that warehouse and they did the landscaping or something, they did not. I don't know how true this is. They did not properly. Uh, I don't know what you call it. They didn't do the drainage properly, and it's going to destroy the foundation in our houses. But I don't know how true that is. Because a neighbor just put it in my mailbox, so I'm not sure how true it is. Chris goes, my brother's areas out there gets fire warnings every year. Yeah, we do get a lot of fires out in this in California. Not in this, like, literally I've been here practically all my life. I've never once seen a fire. I better knock on wood, because I have never once. I mean, now there's a water tower. They had installed a water tower. I know it was due to the warehouses, which is good, because that's good news for here. But I do see fireworks are illegal in this city, and I do see dumbasses freaking shooting them up in the air in my neighborhood, and it pisses me off. I'm like, dude, if you catch my house on fire, you're paying for it. I don't care. You're paying for the entire block that you're gonna mess up by doing that. Joanne goes, come up to Ontario. UNL could stay at one of the cabins and help with harvesting hunting in September. That sounds cool, actually. That does. Julissa goes, if that's true, you probably will get a settlement from the warehouse. That's what I'm guessing. But it's just the neighbor kind of put, like, they did a spreadsheet or a word processing thing, and handed it to all the neighbors. And I saw them post on the Facebook page too, so I kind of knew what it was when I saw it, but I don't know how true it is. And I know the neighbor has no usually they have no intentions of lying. They're doing it to help people. So, but still. Chris Barber saying his brother lives up in San Jose. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes. Leonardo goes, that's why I soak my roof. That's the only thing I get afraid of is there's idiots in this neighborhood that on 4th of July that shoot off bottle rockets, and it's scary to see it. And then I got this dry hill behind me, and you're shooting that crap off. Like, come on. Common sense. And I know there's other people seeing it, so there's witnesses. They just don't know what house is doing it. But I'm hoping there's a witness. Joanne goes, from experience, don't believe the neighbor. That's why I'm saying, unless I get something official, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I don't know where they got their information from. So, because we've had our share amount of rain the last 2 years, and I haven't had any problems with flooding or anything. I mean, I get the normal flooding that I know I get, because it's just the way that how they built it. The patio here gets flooded. It's just the way it is. Um, there is a drain, but it doesn't drain fast enough. Sometimes it depends on how fat or how hard the rain is. But that I know of, and I'm used to that. But I haven't had any other problems. I agree, Chris. That is stupid to do in California. I do agree with that. I do. Like, I get so irritated when I see these people. It's like, it's common sense, bro. Like, you're going to lose your house too. Like, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, there's a possibility of you losing all your possessions for doing something, a moment of fun for what, a minute? Less than a minute? Thank you, Leonore, for your PayPal. Hearts for Leonore for being awesome. Thank you, Leonore. I appreciate that. Hopefully, you're still in the chat. Thank you, Leonore. Hearts for Leonore. Julissa goes, it's still really green for this time of year in this part of California. Glad for all the rain. We are the hill behind me is brown because it doesn't get water, so it is brown. We got the weeds going on. Usually they do trim it, so I see the guy going over there with the weed whacker, doing his things. Leonore goes, of course, Lisa, don't go back. I'm trying, Leonore, but sometimes it's becoming a struggle. It really is. I'm trying. But this past month has been really bad. So I'm trying, Leonore. I'm trying because I don't really want to go back. That's not my that is not my outlook in life right now. I don't want to go back to retail. I don't. Joanne goes, I like your earlier chats. What, Joanne, what about my earlier chats today or like in general? And if it's not in general, but actual earlier chats in previous videos is what I meant, not in general. And you guys are seeing me go. I try not to do that because sometimes I see my face and I start laughing. I go, oh my God, I didn't just have that face. I have weird faces sometimes. Even when we were at EDC and we were behind the stage. There wasn't a lot of people behind the stage for this particular DJ. And he's a legend. There should have been more people. And we were actually we were televised on the Insomniac broadcast for EDC for that particular stage, and you could see me, and I had I'm stone faced, but I had the funniest look on my face, and I'm all like, oh, Joanne, the problem is I would do earlier chats, I would do earlier shows, but the problem is if I do have to get a 9 to 5, which I'm most likely going to have to, it's better no, I understand. I know some people it's hard to stay up because a lot of you are on East Coast time. I do understand that. I know I have a few people that are in London and UK or in Europe that like this time is like 6 in the morning for them or early in the morning. So I do know that, but the reason why I keep it late is because if I do need to get a 9 to 5, I can still keep the consistency of my shows. But I get it. I understand. Like I totally understand. But and also too, that's when other YouTubers usually aren't on, and I don't want to clash with because I know some of you watch some of these other YouTubers, and I don't want to clash with them as well. But the main reason is because I want to keep a consistent time, and it's always good to have a consistent time because I know YouTube likes to be scandalous and not notify people. If I have the same exact schedule, there's no reason for people to not know, which people still go and I didn't get notified. I get it. Life gets away with us and we forget. I understand. I forget some people sometimes and and they go on at the same time all the time, but I totally understand. But I want to be consistent. So that's the reason. But kind of why I do it. But I understand. I get it. I do get it. There's a lot of Eastern Standard Time people, or Central. I know there's some Central too as well. Kyle goes, I follow and watch so many channels. YouTube is practically cable for me. Julissa goes, I love your schedule streams. Thank you, Julissa. And it's kind of a time that just fits for me too, as well. So I can kind of get things done and out of the way. Don't have to worry about dinner when I go on, type of thing. So just, but I understand. I do understand. All right, guys, any last minute questions before I end this stream? Leonore goes, it works. Joanne goes, yeah, I get it. Sometimes I can't stay the whole time. Yeah, I understand. I get it. It's late for you guys. And I know I get some people from Europe that drop in for a bit. I understand. Delay Lux, what is up? Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. I will catch the show whenever you're on, when I can. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Joanne goes, great stream. Thanks. Thank you. Chris, thank you for a great show. All right, guys, I am going to end this stream. Thank you for joining me on this edition of Grayson Report. I will see you on the next one, which will still be on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be there or be squared. Stay spooky, guys, and sweet nightmares. And I will see you on the next one. Good night, guys. You guys are awesome.